Welcome to the Smart Weight Loss Coaching Podcast. I'm Dr. Lisa Olson, a board-certified weight loss medicine specialist and certified life coach. In this podcast, I'll share fresh insights and effective techniques for incorporating mindset, habit change, and proven science into your life. Are you ready to achieve sustainable weight loss, wellness, and longevity? Then let's jump in and lose weight the smart way. Welcome back. I was meeting with a client lately who was feeling a little bit stuck with her weight loss. She hadn't been tracking, and so I asked her just to go over a 24-hour diet recall for me, starting with what she ate yesterday for breakfast and giving me the whole day's worth, plus this morning's breakfast too. The very first thing on her tracker was iced coffee on the way home from playing tennis. So I asked her for a little more information. What kind of iced coffee? Did she make it herself or pick it up somewhere? Well, it turns out she went to McDonald's and got an iced French vanilla coffee. She said, I think it's just coffee with ice and a little milk and a pump of vanilla. Okay. So one of the things that I like to do with people when I'm working with them in my program is to look up whatever it is they're reporting, eating or drinking, because there are all sorts of surprises when we do that. So I looked up the McCafe iced French vanilla coffee, and in addition to the coffee, ice, sugar, milk, cream, and water that we expected, here are some of the other ingredients. Corn syrup, glycerin, potassium sorbate, citric acid, caramel color, natural flavors, which you know I always put that in air quotes because there's nothing natural about those natural flavors. Sodium phosphate, carrageenan, sodium citrate, magnesium oxide, sodium stearyl lactylate, and datum. And in case you don't remember from a prior episode, datum stands for diacetyl tartaric acid esters of mono and diglycerides. Yikes. This is what she's been drinking lately after she works out. It's time to get curious. What might be lurking in your food or drinks that could be blocking your weight loss and health goals? And could creating a new nutritional protocol devoid of these ultra-processed or Nova-4 ingredients be the secret to success? All right, I want you to contemplate this for me. What if I told you that you could lose the weight you've been struggling to lose for years, and it would feel pretty easy, but it's going to take you 6 to 12 months? A lot of people are in a time hurry when it comes to weight loss, but dieting causes weight gain, and a piece of that is the stress involved in restricting, in depriving yourself. Dieting as a concept is very negative, right? So what we want to do is slowly change the way you eat without dieting. And the way you do that is to create your own protocol. This is a big part of what we do in my program. So I'm just going to give you a little tiny window into that. But before we do, let's hear a word from our sponsor. Ha, just kidding. It's still me, Dr. Lisa Olson, founder of Smart Weight Loss Coaching. If you're as focused on your health as you are on the scale, you're my person. In my online program, we'll help you establish healthy habits for weight loss, better health, and longevity. For those of you who have looked at our website before, you'll be excited to see that you no longer have to commit to a 3-month program to join us. If you'd like to learn more about our affordable monthly membership, head over to smartweightlosscoaching.com. Back to our conversation about creating your own weight loss protocol. So, of course, you've heard me say before, the first step is to track, which is the single most robust behavioral intervention we have for weight loss. And even better is to make a plan and then track how well you adhere to your plan. When you make a plan, please include 2 optional snacks. The reason I do this is because so many of us end up snacking anyway, whether we intended to or not. And so if you make a plan, in advance using the smart thinking part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, you're much more likely to eat a snack that's reasonable and doesn't derail your effort. And then after you track your food, you have to take some time to look at what you wrote down. Give yourself a little feedback. I always like to start with the positive. Look through what you ate and drank for the day and call out your effort. Notice where you succeeded or where you tried. Why? Because behaviors that get rewarded get repeated. The other thing you really must do if you're creating your own nutritional protocol is you need to start looking up the ingredients in everything. That's how you find the unexpected weight gain foods or drinks like that iced coffee, right? My client just thought she was drinking a healthy iced beverage with a little bit of milk in it. She had no idea it was laden with chemicals that will make her hungrier later and lead to weight gain. Let's think about a recent food tracker that I looked at this week. I had the privilege of teaching a bunch of medical students, and they all kept a food tracker for me. It was so much fun to work with them to dig through their food trackers and start to create their own healthy protocols. So one of the students had some yogurt with some peanut butter and a banana in it. So just like I asked my clients to do, I asked the medical students to give one another feedback, starting with the positives. Start with something that you know is a win. How about that banana, right? We don't know yet what's in the yogurt or what's in the peanut butter, but we know that a banana is a real food without any added ultra-processed ingredients. And we really don't need to be afraid of any kind of fruit. I know some people worry about the sugar in fruit. I'll just tell you, in over a decade of helping people with weight loss, I'm really not sure I've ever had to tell anyone to stop eating bananas. But people do tell me all the time that they're worried about the fruit in bananas. I think that's really low on the intervention scale. We're much better off finding things like that McDonald's iced coffee and making a change in that rather than forbidding bananas. All right, so it turns out once we complimented the banana, we asked, what's in the yogurt? And here are the ingredients that we found. In addition to the milk, active cultures, and strawberries that we expected to find in her Dannon Greek strawberry yogurt, we also found natural and artificial flavors, modified food starch, sucralose, fructose, malic acid, and potassium sorbate. Wow, that is a chemical bomb. And again, we know that ultra-processed ingredients make us hungrier later and lead to weight gain. So instead of that Dannon Greek strawberry yogurt, how about just making a switch to plain Greek Fage yogurt and strawberries? The ingredients in Fage are just going to be the milk, the cream, and the active yogurt cultures. That's it. And the ingredients in strawberries? Well, it's just strawberries. How about that Jif peanut butter? There are subtypes of the brand Jif when it comes to peanut butter, and some of them are worse than others. But this person used the natural creamy peanut butter spread, thinking that that was more natural and therefore more healthy. It turns out, in addition to peanuts, there were two kinds of sweeteners, both sugar and molasses, salt, and an ultra-processed oil, palm oil. Boom, that makes it an ultra-processed food right there. Because palm oil in food products like this is a hexane-extracted industrialized oil that's really not a health food any way you spin it. Instead of using the Jif Natural Creamy Peanut Butter spread in her yogurt, I suggested, what if you just sprinkle some nuts on top? And if you'd like to, you could try adding some seeds too for variety in the crunch. Maybe you haven't tried it before, but how about some chia seeds, pepita seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds? I don't really myself care for the taste of flax seeds, but all of the other seeds I find really delicious to sprinkle on steel-cut oats or yogurt or even on a salad or a curry. They just add a little extra texture and they're so good for us. So, as you start creating your own nutritional protocol, the real work involved is to start tracking your food, reading over your tracker, and looking up the ingredients on every single product, unless it's something like strawberries that only has the one ingredient. As you make these small swaps over the course of time, typically something like 6 months or so, you'll transform the way you eat with very little effort. And certainly in 6 months, you'll start to see the results on the scale. But in the beginning, listen, this is just the truth of it. When you're making slow, gradual changes by swapping out ultra-processed foods for healthier foods, you're just going to have to sit with the discomfort of the scale not moving or not moving quickly. It's typically not the first change you'll see. One of my clients transformed her eating habits by dramatically reducing, nearly eliminating her Nova 4 or ultra-processed foods. What did she notice first? Well, she didn't notice weight loss, but within 2 weeks, she told me that her joints felt better, much less inflamed is the way she described it. She was working out more and had much more energy than she had felt in several years. That was after just 2 weeks of eliminating ultra-processed foods and swapping them out for more simple whole foods. This reminds me of the famous Marshmallow test out of Stanford from back in the 1970s. You probably know that famous psychology test. They had little kids sit at a table with a marshmallow, and they were told if they didn't eat it until the researcher came back in the room, they would get 2 marshmallows instead of just the one. The experiment measured how well children could delay immediate gratification to receive greater rewards in the future. This is an ability that predicts success later in life. In the original Marshmallow test, fewer than half of the children passed or were able to delay gratification and wait for the second marshmallow. Children who were able to delay gratification were more likely to have better SAT scores when they got to high school, better college grades, and better social skills. They were also less likely to abuse substances, to develop the chronic disease of obesity, and they were less likely to struggle with stress. As adults, we can train our brains to delay gratification, and part of that is understanding that when you're creating an adult weight loss protocol, you're not going to get the immediate gratification of a change on the scale. My job is to help you hang in there when you're wondering if the researcher is ever going to come back to give you the double marshmallow reward. I'll help you walk back from the ledge when you tell yourself it's not working. But the reason I talk about being patient with weight loss so often is because it is hard. More than half the kids failed to wait the 10 minutes. They couldn't delay their gratification for the marshmallow. So of course it's hard for all of us to wait weeks or months for our effort to show up on the scale. I hear this same statement all the time. I've been doing everything right for the past 2 weeks, or the past 3 weeks, or the past 4 weeks, and the scale hasn't budged. It's time to take your power back. Stop making the scale the number one metric that measures your success. Give yourself kudos or a sticker or a smiley face when you plan and track. One smile for everything you do. And add up your smiley faces each month and try to beat last month's number of days tracked. Or use a point system and give yourself a point for every deliberate action you take. 1 point when you make the healthy food choice, get deliberate exercise, go to sleep on time, plan your food, track your food, analyze your food tracker, look up an ingredient list, even when you think you know something is fine, and when you find a food that's Nova 4, and swap out that ultra-processed food for something healthier. Be generous with the rewards for delaying your gratification, because eventually you'll get that metaphorical second marshmallow. Only this one will come in the form of a smaller pair of jeans, a bathing suit you're willing to wear, It might come in the form of you letting someone take a family picture with your full body visible right up in front. All right, friends, it's time to set your MBA, your next best action. What's it going to be for you today? Are you going to start working on your protocol, planning your food, tracking it, and relentlessly looking up every single thing you eat so that you get familiar with what the ingredients are in your food? I hope it's something like that. Thanks so much for listening. If you'd like more support during your smart weight loss journey, check out our group coaching program at smartweightlosscoaching.com. Until next time, stay well and stay smart.